Konnichiwa, Samurai James here. Can you put on samurai armor by yourself if you don't have one to help you? Spoiler alert, yes you can. I'm going to show you how in this video. Now real quick before I get geared up, everything in this video that I'll be wearing is from Iron Mountain Armory. I purchased it myself. This was not anything that they gave me or that was a sponsored video. However, I did ask Mr. Astorita to review the video and give me some feedback before posting it, and he did, which I greatly appreciate. Now, if you're looking for a suit of armor, then I certainly suggest Iron Mountain Armory. I am an affiliate with them, and if you use the affiliate links in the description below, I get a little bit of credit with them towards purchasing some more armor and using that to bring you more stuff that I can get and put on and review and provide you with more content for the channel. Now, throughout this video, you're going to see one side where I'm showing the pieces of armor that I'm putting on for that portion, and you're also going to see some drawings on the side. Those drawings are from the Tanki Yoriaku Hikoben, which I probably didn't pronounce quite right, but it is a historical document showing one of the ways that you can put on samurai armor. Anyway, let's get geared up.
Step 1, the Yoroi Hidatari. That's the armor clothing that goes on underneath. We're going to start with the jacket first and then move on to the pants. This might feel backwards if you're from the West, since you probably put your pants on first and then your shirt, but since the pants go over top of the jacket to help keep it in place, we're going to do it in reverse. To tie the straps on the pants, we're going to put the pair from the front over towards the back, pull it around back in front again, and we're going to tie it off underneath in front so that it can't be grabbed during combat. It can be a little bit awkward to get this tied off inside of the pants when you can't see it, but the newer versions of the Yoroi Hidatari actually have loops inside to help you get it aligned and keep it from sagging down. For the back, we're also going to pull those around to the front. We're going to tuck it under the front and tie it off as well. To finish the pants, there's ties on the lower leg that helps to pull the fabric in and make it so that the suneate will sit on place better. I don't actually knot these, I just pull them around and loop them once and then pull it snug with the suneate sitting on top. It helps keep them from unwinding. Now up next is going to be the kogake for the foot armor. You may or may not have these. I'm going to be putting inside of the waraji because the straps at the front of the waraji help hold them in place. You can see in the picture on the left where the toes are split like that. That also helps hold them in. And in some of the kogake, you'll actually have a strap on the bottom that will go under one or some of your toes to also help keep it in place. You can see I've tied them off here in the back to help hold the waraji in place and keep the kogake in place. And I've made sure to pull the little fabric lip up here so that when I put the suneate on top, they'll be resting on top of the fabric. Moving on to the suneate, I'm going to be placing them over top of where I've already tied the pants down. They have two sets of laces on them, so I'm going to pull it on here, wrap the fabric around in the back. Yours may or may not have the Kaihan liners, mine do. So I'm going to fold that over and then I'm going to pull the lace behind, pull it up above the top of my calf to keep it from sliding down. Then I'm going to pull it around in front and make a little bow with it. Going to do the same thing down below, pull those laces around, make sure the fabric is tucked in on both sides, and then pull the lace around, snug it up in front, and make a bow as well. Now as you're looking at these, you can see in the picture on the left, one side of the kneecap area is slightly taller than the other. The one with the taller edge goes to the outside. We're going to repeat the same steps on the right leg, and I'm going to speed that up so that we can move on. This is the padded belt that comes with the armor that you often see displayed with it. This is not intended to hold your swords, and this is one of the most frequently incorrectly worn items. This is meant to be worn under the armor if you're wearing it at all. So you'll see I'm tying it a little bit below where my rib cage is, in between my rib cage and my hips. What I'm going to do is just tie it off and then tuck it under, and you'll see what it's supposed to do in the next step. Now here for the haidate, part of what that padded obi does is help keep the haidate from sliding down. I have a bit of a figure where my stomach is a little bit bigger than my waistline. Not that I'm particularly thrilled with it or happy with it, but that's just how it is in your 40s with a desk job. But anyway, the padded obi helps to keep that in place, and I'll tie that off to keep it suspended above the obi. I've also got this string here in the front. Yours may or may not have this as well. It can go over the left shoulder, it can go over the right shoulder, but don't put it behind your neck. If you put it behind your neck, then that might start tugging on the back of your neck. It's not going to choke you, but it's going to feel a little bit uncomfortable if it starts to sag. In this case, I've elected to do it over my left shoulder because I'm right-handed, and that just has one less thing that's sitting on my right arm, and I prefer to have it on the left. If you're a lefty, you might want to tie it over the right shoulder. Once that's all tied up, then we'll go ahead and we'll tuck in the excess behind the haidate to keep it nice and clean. Now here is the strange part for armoring up alone. In this case, I actually have my do, my kote, and my osode all attached at once. And as I'm trying to work this up, it's going to come on a little bit like an incredibly awkward jacket. What I have is the kote already tied off on the watagami straps and my osode already in place. I'm going to be slipping my left arm here into it and then attempting to pull it up and on. And as you can see it here up on my back, I'm actually going to pull that toggle through and get the toggle into place so that it'll be able to rest on my left shoulder once I finish getting my arm through the ties and then pulling it up. Now that that's up and in place, I'm going to go ahead and get my right arm through the sleeve there as well. For the kote, since they have the ties on the inside, this isn't too bad to try to get into. We'll go ahead and we'll speed this one up so that we can get it all pulled up and snugged up. And now everything is up and into place. Now here I'm tying off the kote in the front. There are 2 sets of ties. I've already tied the ones in the back before I put on the do and made sure that the tension was right on those. The ones in the front, I just want to tie off enough to try to keep the fabric of the kote from popping out. I don't need it to hold it into place incredibly tight because I've already got the kote tied off at the top of the kote to the watagami straps. Now here I'm tying off the side of the cuirass, and what I'm doing is I'm lifting up on the do to make sure that it's sitting right up on or slightly above where that padded obi is. This helps take all the weight off the shoulders. I'll just adjust it a little bit and get it into place. And what you can see is the watagami straps, I can actually put my hand underneath. The weight of the cuirass is not sitting on my shoulders, it's sitting on my hips, which will help carry the weight to it a whole lot better than having it on your shoulders. Now it's just a matter of going through, tightening up on the kote, tightening up the laces on the inside to get them into place, wrapping it around the wrist, tying off the wrist strap, getting your fingers into the loops for the middle finger and for the thumb. Doing that, again, working from the left side to the right side. So starting with the left arm, working on the right arm, and we're going to get all the ties pulled into place for this. And now we're finishing up on the right arm. I've got it all tied off, just tucking the excess in, shake it around a little bit, see how it feels, move on to the next step. This step is the uwa obi. This is the one that actually goes on the armor. It should wind 2 to 3 times around your body. And what I'm going to do is find the middle of it so that I know where to start it in the middle of my back. Some of these may have a leather tab in it so that you can find the middle, particularly in a dark environment that's actually written about historically. And in this case, I'm going to start right at the bottom of the do. I'm going to pull it around, folding it over in half and making sure that I meet there in the front in the middle. And I'm actually going to twist it through here. You don't particularly have to. You can just pull it around a few times and then tie it off. But I like to get this first one here tight so that I can get the do adjusted and make sure it's still sitting properly on that padded belt underneath. Now I'm going to wrap it around again, pull it in front. We're going to tie it off again, and this time I'm going to make a knot and then we'll tuck in the excess. You do have the option after you've tied it off like this to try to swing it around so that the knot is in the back. I'm not particularly worried about that, and I find it a little bit difficult to do without help, as sometimes spinning it around can make it start to slide off of the do, and I like to keep it in place. Next up is the nodawa. You may or may not have one of these. These are typically an extra accessory that you can order beyond the normal armor. This simply ties behind the neck, and then you have the option to wear it over top or underneath of the do. Either one of those, I've been told, is historically correct. And in this case, I'm showing how it is on top, but I typically prefer to wear mine underneath, so I'm going to slide it under the do and under the watagami straps. In that case, it helps prevent any sort of sword from getting underneath of it and riding up by helping keep it under the do and providing some extra protection up towards the neck. Next up is the mempo. On mine, I can take the nose piece off, and I typically choose to do this so that I don't get the mustache tied up as I'm tying off the kabuto. So I'm going to set that off to the side, and we're just going to take the mempo. Now that's going to tie behind the head and keep a little bow tie there in the back. But you can see right now I'm showing it's underneath of my ears. You don't want that. You want it to sit just over top of your ears, just like you would for a pair of glasses. That's going to help hold it into place while I get the kabuto on. The kabuto is what's going to really help secure this in place. The string will just hold it in place for a few minutes until I can actually get the helmet on to keep it tied down. Now for the kabuto, the classic samurai helmet, I'm going to pull it on, and I'm just going to do a simple bow knot here. There are a few different iterations for tying a kabuto, at least a half dozen, probably more. I'm going to do a simple bow tie here because the point of this video isn't to show you the different ways to tie a kabuto, it's to show you the whole armoring process by yourself. So I'm just going to pull it around those orikugi pegs on the mempo to help keep the cords in place. I'm going to make a little bow tie. I'm going to look down to try to even up the length of the cords there. We're just going to kind of let it hang in front, and then we're going to move on. And for the last bit, I'm actually going to grab the piece that we set aside for the mempo, and I'm going to place that back on. So now that everything's tied, we'll go ahead, we'll get the last piece of the mempo put on here with the mustache hanging down. All the cords are tied, so everything is free and clear. And there we go. Do the little mustache thing, check on my osode, try to roll them around a little bit. The thing that's most annoying with this, doing it on your own, is it's almost impossible to adjust these once you have them on sometimes. So if I had a helper, I would have someone help me adjust them into place a little bit better. But once you've worn it and try it out, next time you take it off, just slide it around, get it into place, and it'll be ready for the next time. And that's it. This is Samurai James saying thanks for watching and sayonara.